Yeah, I think that's very important. So be the one to add value. Don't always be in the position to just get and not giving. So, and even the Bible says that give us, it's better to give than to receive. So if you are willing to give, definitely it's always come back to us. And I think that's very, very key. Okay. So it's today we're going to talk about streams of income and the benefit of streams of income. And I think it's very important for us to talk about this because okay. So it's always okay, yeah. So we're talking about streams of income today. And I think it's very important for us to talk about it because when we started Village Square, our emphasis was on, selling on Amazon, and that has been very, very helpful to a lot of us. But in the process of selling on Amazon, a lot of us had challenges as well because Amazon on its platform is not your platform, and anything can happen on the platform because you are not in control of the platform. And same thing applies to when you are working for someone. If you are working in a company, if the company had any challenge, it's either they tell you to go and sit in your house or the company fold up. So it also has its own challenge. If you are trading, you trade stock, so you buy low and sell high, and maybe you are doing a contract for difference, or you are doing you bid for this stock auction. You might win or you might lose your money as well. So just imagine that's the only thing you are doing. And what happened 2 weeks ago happened, and volatility index got to like 38%, 38 points, and S&P 500 went down drastically, and Nasdaq 100 too went down drastically. Just imagine that's the only thing you are doing. You would have lost a lot of money. Imagine people that are doing like maybe like doing forex. For some of them, I remember I used to do that in those days. For some of us, sometimes we keep naira, sometimes you keep pound. And in this period, the volatility is very high. So you don't want to keep naira, neither will you want to keep pound if you are doing forex, because sometimes but you are doing money transfer, because sometimes the pound can go up or dollar can go up, sometimes it can go down. But the riskiest one is the naira. If you keep naira, anything can happen. So just imagine that that's the only source of income. And for most of us, our main source of income is actually the earning one. That is the pay as you earn, um, the active income, salary. And that is, for some of us or most of us, that is actually like our main source of income. And we never pray that things happen. Someone says that God forbid but life permits. Sometimes situation of life, you cannot control everything. Just imagine when Google had issue, and Microsoft, and even recently what's their name? It's not Oracle. Recently, see, is this Cisco? I think they had issue as well, and they had to tell people to go and sit down, you know. So just imagine that's the only source of income you've got. It's gonna be a struggle. Some people will develop high blood pressure because of that, and that is why it's always very good for us to have streams of income. Even in the Garden of Eden, they have four streams, so why do you want to have one if God actually put that in place? So, and I remember, I think King Solomon as well in Ecclesiastes says that we should have seven or even eight streams of income, because you don't know what might happen to one of them. And that's why we want to talk about this. From my research, I realized that or from what I've heard and the books I've read, it's always advisable that when you are looking at streams of income, you need to look at what we call cash flow. Cash flow is key, and cash flow is king. People say cash is king, but I believe cash flow is king. Because if you have cash that is sitting down, that cash can lose value. But if you have cash flow, it flows. It flows every time. It's something that comes every time because it's a stream. And that is actually where currency actually came into being. Currency is supposed to have current. It needs to be flowing to you. So if you have cash flow, you know that, okay, monthly, weekly, quarterly or yearly, this thing will be coming to me. And cash flow, I believe, is king. And how do we generate cash flow? We generate cash flow by having streams of income. One of the ways to generate cash flow might be your salary, but that is active cash flow because you had to, uh, use your time in order to get the cash. So you need to sell your time to someone to get the cash, and that is salary. And salary is not bad, salary is good, but the most important thing about salary is that when you are getting salary, are you putting it somewhere that can be generating you cash flow when you are not actively selling your time? And that is the most important. So most of us started with salary, but when you start with salary, where is your money going? Like people have said, and a lot of guru and financial mentors and educators have advised, and even the ones that are practicing it, they've advised that when you are, apportioning your cash or your investment, that you should put like 60 to 70% on investments that are low risk. You can put like 20 to 30% on investment that are medium risk, and you need to put your 10% on investment that are high risk. So can someone tell me the high risk investment that anyone in the house, any high risk investment that Well, for me, I believe that cryptocurrency is a high risk investment, and we understand that the higher the risk, the higher the profits, the return. So for me, I believe that for cryptocurrency, you can trade cryptocurrency 24 hours. So today it might be Bitcoin might be $50,000. Tomorrow it might be 80,000, or tomorrow it might be $10,000. And that is high risk investment. Can anyone tell me any other high risk investment that they know? Okay, for me, I would say trading. So when you are trading stock, maybe you're doing a contract for difference, as we call it in the UK. I think they call it auction in the US. So if you are trading that, you are doing short and you are doing long, and you can make a lot of money, in maybe one day. For example, when S&P 500 went down to like 5,100, some people, had to do long. They bought it, and when it went up in 2 weeks time, 2 weeks, I think is now like 5,600, because they also leverage. Because what they do is this: when you buy maybe let's say $100, you know the platform might give you like another $1,000 to trade it. So when it goes up a certain point, you might make like $2,000, with your $100, because you are leveraging, the platform money as well. And that is how a lot of people make money. But the same thing applies when trade goes against them. They do $100, but they might lose all the money in their account. And that is high risk investment. And for some of us, especially if you are still young, it's very good for us to, try the high risk investment. Is at least if you lose 10%, you are not going to die. But if you if you lose the as in if you win the 10%, you might get a high return as well. So it's like a win-win thing. But you don't want to put all your money in high risk investment. And that's the mistake that a lot of us make. For some of us, because everyone is saying that, oh, Bitcoin is bringing a lot of money, we put 70%, of our investment in Bitcoin. I remember a lot of people, in Nigeria, there was a time when they said that M&M is bringing a lot of money, wet solution and all those things, and those people will come. And a lot of us, we put 70, some of us will even put 110% of our investment. We put 100%, we'll go and borrow another 10%, and we'll put all of our money. And this is how they do it. They give you certain amount in your first investment, and you are like, yay, I just put 1 million naira and I got 2 million naira. No, 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 no. And you call all your family and friends, please, can you borrow me 2 million, 3 million? And you just put 10 million. As soon as you put that 10 million, you just realize that you are unable to get any of the money, and you lost all your money. You invested even more than what you have you know and same thing with Bitcoin, where Bitcoin was, I remember when we did Bitcoin, I think is it 2008. It was like 4 to 5 thousand dollars. It went up to 20,000, and we're like, oh, why didn't we put more money? There was a time it got to like 2 to 3 thousand, $2,000 or $3,000, and everybody was pulling out their money because we invested a lot because of the knowledge we've got. Right now, I would strongly advise us, anywhere in the world you are. I know some people join from Nigeria. If you are in Nigeria, there are land that are quite cheap that you can still get. But this is very key. Land can either be high risk or low risk. It can be high risk in the sense that if you buy land without securing the land, it's high risk. Someone can take that land away from you. You are not doing CFO, you are not fencing it, you are buying from the Omonile, you are not going through the nitty-gritty, you are not going through the origin of the land. Some of us, because we think estate is too expensive, we don't want to buy in estates where they have the CFO of the whole land. We want to buy so cheap, it might be high risk, but if you do your due diligence, you secure what you're supposed to secure, then it's a low risk. And at that particular time, you spend a lot of money and you may not have high cash flow. I think I've got to a level right now that I know some of us may disagree with me. People will say that in Nigeria, the best thing to buy is not actually building a house or buying a house, that the best is actually buying a land. Yes, good idea. It's actually good to get land. But I did some calculation recently, and I also listened to a guy. He said he had land for like 23 years, and he kept the land for 23 years. Bought the land for 50,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Now he's selling for 20 million, 30 million. But he said there was a time he had a challenge. He had the land, he had the capital, but he didn't have the cash flow. And that was when he realized that no, some of this land, I need to build on them. When I build on them, I get cash flow every year. From my own experience, we built a property just recently in one of our small land, and we built that property. That's in Nigeria. When I did the calculation, we finished the property. I think okay, we just got the third year rent in July. So that means we built the property 2 years ago, because you get, your first rent, you get it as soon as you finish building your property. So first year, second year. So this is the third year rent. When I did the calculation of how much we spent on the property, we spent 17 million on the property. The first thing is this. Yes, the land is actually in my house, but if I have the land out of my house, I'll be servicing the land by maybe cutting grasses. I would try as much as possible to secure it, send people to go there and check, do CFO and everything. I've spent money and it's not giving me any money. Yes, it's appreciating in value, no cash flow. But I thought about it that if I build something on the land, I've secured the land. No headache of someone is taking the land. That's number one. Number two, I don't need to spend money on cutting grasses. If I have tenants, I'll be getting cash flow and the land will also be appreciating in value. And the price I've actually used to build the property would depreciate, but the value will be going up. And when I did the calculation, I was like, that might actually make sense depending on where you are, the position you are, and what you are doing with money where you are. So when I did that, I was like, okay, that actually makes sense. But I now understand the power of cash flow as well. Cash flow is king. We built the property for like 17 million. We've got like close to 3 to 4 million right now. If I want to sell that house now, at least I should be able to sell it for 40 to 50 million. Why? Because when we're building the house, uh cement was 2,200. Right now, cement is 7,500. Block was very cheap as well. So when I looked at it, I was like, wow, I'm quite happy that we actually took that decision. Our own house that we're living, when I did it, because I have Excel sheet for everything. If they buy nail, I write it down. When I looked at it during the week, we built it for like 41 million. If I'm selling it right now, I think I should be able to sell it for 130 million because of inflation. And that is the power of low risk. That 40 million naira, if I put it on MTN shares, I would have got high discount. What do we call it? Dividends. My shares would have gone up, but the share can also go down anytime. Same thing with S&P 500. We bought a house in the UK as well in 2021 for 190,000. Right now, the property is 250. When I did the calculation, that's like 3 years. Yeah, right. When I did the calculation, I realized that the return is 31%. Well, the reason is this: we had a good return, but ideally, people get 6 to 9 or 10% return yearly. But because we understand how to buy property, we bought it in the right location, and the return jumped. So when I did the calculation before we started the meeting, we had like 31%. That's like 10% average 10% return on investment for 3 years, right? But when I did the calculation that if I had used the money to buy S&P 500 in 2021, S&P 500 was $2,600. And right now, S&P 500 is 5,600 and something dollars. If I had used that money, I would have got 90% return on investment. But look at it. I might as well get no percent return on investment. So I see S&P 500 as a medium risk investment. So stocks might actually be medium risk investment. It can give you dividends. It can give you, it can go up in value, and it can as well go down in value. We know what happened in 2008, the dot-com bubble. Amazon went down 80%, but it's quite difficult for property to go down 80%, because people are to stay in a place. So when we are looking at streams of income, we need to consider three key things, and depending on your age. If you are still in your 20s, I would strongly advise you that put most of your money on medium risk, like stocks, and at least if you can buy a property, play around with cryptocurrency. But if you're in your 60s, why do you want to do crypto? You shouldn't be doing crypto. You should be doing property that would give you peace of mind, and do a bit of medium risk investment. So when we are looking at that, we are looking at cash flow as well as capital appreciation. But I think what is important for us is cash flow. So when I looked at the property, it's giving us cash flow, let's say like 500, 400 pounds. The cash flow is quite low compared to if I'm doing trading. Trading can give me 1,000, 2,000 pounds in a month, but we need to consider where to put money. So when we are looking at streams of income, for me, I would strongly advise that we look at real estate, which is low risk investment. And low risk investment actually gives low return as well. And when we are looking at real estate, anywhere in the world you find yourself, you can buy real estate. I was talking to Bumi recently. They have a property in what do we call that place? Detroit. for 50, 60,000. Bumi was even telling me that they have for 40, 45,000. And some people will be telling you that they don't have, they can't find property, because they are looking at 300, 400, 500,000 property. I have someone in Nigeria that they are putting money together, $10,000 to buy Detroit in cash, you know, because it's quite cheap. So we need to consider that. The first thing is our mind. Do you believe that you can do it? If you believe that you can do it and you know that you want to do it, you need to save some of your money. And no matter where you are, you can buy land, you can buy property. If you are in Nigeria, there are property in even in part of Lagos that you can still buy for 500,000. You just need to go very far. Some you can buy for 1 million. You still need to go very far. And a lot of us, when we want to buy car, most of us, we use car of 5 million, 6 million naira, and we complain that the government is terrible. So we need to look for streams of income. One key one is property, low risk, low return. We need to look at shares. Stock is very, very key. And I also classify Amazon, eBay, e-commerce as medium risk investment. I still run my Amazon, and one of the ways that I've been able to mitigate risk on Amazon is to have to sell in different countries. Because if anything happens to UK, it doesn't apply to Germany, it doesn't apply to France, it doesn't apply to Italy. So we need to also find a way to mitigate our risk. So when I sell on Amazon, I sell on different countries. That's number one. I sell in different countries, and I also sell different brand. I listened to someone that is doing like $8 million, and she said that she doesn't focus on one category and she doesn't focus on one brand. This is the reason. Because I've been in the shoe, and thank God that they were able to open, one of my product that is close to like $7,000 to $8,000 a pound. I sent it to France, and Amazon said one customer complained and they said they are going to destroy it. But I was able to win it. But it just gave me an idea that I had to know how to mitigate my risk. Instead of buying 8,000 pound worth of product, why can't you buy 1,000 pound worth of product of eight different products? So it reduces your risk. So if one customer complain about one product, it's better for them to destroy 1,000 product than 8,000 product. And that is one of the ways for us to mitigate our risk. So medium risk, I can say that stocks. So when you are buying stocks as well, the reason why we always talk about S&P 500, S&P 500 is because you are also mitigating your risk with S&P. If you buy Amazon alone, if anything happens to Amazon shares, you will lose all your money. But when you buy S&P 500, you are buying top 500 companies in the US. So that means that if one company is fold up, they will take one company out of that top 500 and put another company to make it 500. So you are buying 500 stocks of 500 companies in the US. So the only reason why it will be very risky if you don't believe in US economy. But if you believe in US economy, you are buying the top 500 companies in the US. So it's difficult for top 500 companies to fold up. And same thing applies everywhere. There is ETF everywhere. Even in Nigeria, there are ETF. So you should just do your own research as well. So one of the ways to even mitigate your medium risk is to buy, companies that have been in existence for a long time. If you look at Warren Buffett's strategies, he buys Coca-Cola, he buys some companies that have been in existence for a very, very long time as well. And if you know that you don't want to go through this stress, why not just buy S&P 500? Or you can buy Nasdaq 100 if you wish, but buy ETF that have stand the test of time. And that is one of the ways to mitigate even your medium risk. Another medium risk is eBay, and you can have your e-commerce. Now I'm doing my eBay as well, and it's getting better and nicer, by the time. And one thing I noticed about eBay is this: I think they focus more on sellers as opposed to buyers. So they give you sellers protection. Recently I called one of them, and they were able to take out one of my cases, and I was able to meet top seller as well. So and it's always good for us to try, when we have challenge like that. So medium risk, we talk about stock, we talk about e-commerce, and if you are talking about e-commerce, you can have your website, you can sell on Amazon, you can have your ebook, you can have your YouTube channel, you can sell on eBay, and those are the medium risk. And then if you want to do high risk, then you can be doing your cryptocurrency, you can do your trading. But I think the best advice I will advise right now is that let your 70% go to low risk, which is more or less like more of real estate, and let your 20-30% go to medium risk, which is stocks, selling on Amazon, eBay, and let's say 10% you can use it to play around, do some trading, test some water. It doesn't kill you. You might either win or you learn, or even if you lose, you learn from it, and you can advise other party that may want to do it. And the most important thing doing all these things is to have cash flow. So when you are buying low risk investment, you are also looking at constant cash flow. And I will pause here. Uh, Even low risk investment or low return, let me use this word, even the so-called low return investment might turn to high return investment when it's in the long term. So in the long run, the low return investment will turn to high return investment in the long run. And let me give you an example before I close. The reason why low return investment might become high return investment is this. For example, if I buy a property for, let's say, £200,000 and I hold 150, and my mortgage is £700, or let's say my mortgage is £500. In the first year, I rent the property for £1,000. I pay maintenance fee, pay agency fee, and my cash flow is like £300. Next year, I increase my rent with 5%. In 7 years, I increase my rent yearly. In 5 years' time, I've increased my rent like 25%, and consider what we call compound interest. I'm actually talking from experience. There's a property that we bought, and that property, when we bought the property, we were paying 300 and okay, let me see if I can share my screen. I think that might help. Just bear with me. We're paying 300 and something pound, and we were renting for 1,001. Then later, we refinanced the property. So we borrowed money from the property, and the mortgage increased, but the rent also increased as well. So we're getting like, okay, let me share my screen so that I'm not talking from my head, so that you can see this very quickly. Bear with me. And if you have any question, please, you can start preparing your question. Okay. Bear with me. Someone is coming. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, let's see. This property, okay, this property. Okay, yes, can you see this? This property, we got it for, we got this property for, yes, for 176,500 in 2019. 176. Yeah, the value has gone up to 2. But yes, so this property, initially when we got it, we were renting for, I think it's actually a block of flats. So it has two, let me see if I can click it. So it has 2 block of flat. Let me see if it's going to give me something. Okay. So it has 2 block, and we're renting for 510, the 2 block of flat. And later, we okay, let me just go straight. Right now, we are renting one of them for 770 and the other one for I think 600 and something. I don't know why I can't open this. Let's see. Okay, manage my portfolio. See, no, that's not what I want to do. Okay, I think I'm there. So the mortgage is okay. So the mortgage is let's see how much the mortgage is. Just bear with me. Okay, that's property detail. I just want to show us the power of even the low return might become high return. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't want me to show you. Okay, good. The mortgage, let's see how much the mortgage. Okay, see, the mortgage is 576 right now. This property is, let's see, okay. This property right now, we're renting this property. I think it will go up in September. We're renting this property for 320. Okay, yes, I can remember now. So one of the flats we are renting for 750 before, but now it's gone up to 770 in August. 770. Then the second one, we have a long-term tenant. It's been there for a while, and we wanted to increase the rent this year, but he had to beg because the wife was in maternity leave. So we wanted to increase it from, I think, from 620, no, 640. From 640. Oh, I've not changed this because right now it should be 1,410. So the person is renting the second flat for 640. 640. So if you calculate 770 plus 640, that's 1,410. The reason why it's still showing 1,390 is because I've not reviewed it. I still put, because the first block is 750, but we've increased it to 770. But this September, the tenant is moving out. The rent for that property, that as in we are going to advertise it for £900. So we might either get rent of 850 or 900. So if we get, let's be conservative. If we get 850 plus 770, we'll be getting like 1,620, in a month. Yes, there is a maintenance cost, there is other cost as well, 10% agency fee. We always do like a rent guarantee on all our property, 3%, so that if tenant doesn't pay, insurance will pay. And the mortgage is still 560 something. So on one property, we are likely to be getting close to £1,000 on that property. But when we started, we were getting like between like £500. And in the long run, the property has gone up in value. The rent goes up every year. We increase our rent 5% every year. But the mortgage stay at the same, except we refinance, we take money out. Imagine how much this thing will be giving you in 10 years. In 10 years, this is 2019, that's 5 years ago. In 10 years, well, you are likely to be getting £2,000 rent, and the value of your mortgage might even go down or be the same. In 20 years, you are likely to be getting £4,000 rent, and the mortgage might still be 500 and something pound. And that is the power of low risk. Low risk starts small, but they grow big, in the long term, they grow big. But high risk start big and you might lose all your money. So we need to put 60 to 70% of our investment on low risk, and in the long run, it will pay us long term. Ask people that built property even in our country, Nigeria, 20 years ago. They will tell you they built their property for 500,000 naira. Our property, I don't think it's the one my dad, he bought this land as 1,000. No, everything was 13,000 plus survey and everything, 13,000 naira. And when he built the house, I don't think he spent up to 2 million naira. If he wants to sell that house now, most houses in Ikoyi and in Lekki, Ikoyi, Victoria Island, a lot of them might not be up to 200K when they bought it. But look at it now. And that's the power of low risk, pay you in the long run. And that is the end of my presentation today. I think it's time for us to ask questions and contribution.
Wow.